Hello and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. Markets in cryptocurrencies are experiencing a surge of channel fear, and after several days of going against the grain, XRP has finally begun to decline, being one of the top 10 most successful cryptocurrencies. So, while it's true that market participants are experiencing elevated levels of worry, I'd like to outline a few reasons why this excessive apprehension is unwarranted. As the mechanism behind the motion we're witnessing isn't particularly complicated, I'll keep this video fairly brief. And I'm certainly no expert on the stock market. Simply put, I'm a guy who has access to the internet and who, when given enough information, is able to keep his emotions in check. This is not hard to understand material. Really, it's not that bad. The best. For the first time in a long time, XRP is declining. Anyway, so what? I'll fill you in on the details. But I do need to clarify something before we go any further. No, I don't come from a moneyed family. Do not buy or sell anything based on anything I say or write here, as I am not offering financial advice. I'm just a fan who likes to dabble in the crypto world by making videos on YouTube about it every once in a while for fun. As of the time this was written, XRP was worth 36 cents. The price of one Bitcoin is currently $19,811. The asset class market capitalization has dropped below $1 trillion to $931 billion at present. Not familiar with that site for some time. 41.7% is what Bitcoin controls. Also, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index has reached new heights not seen since early 2018. What? When was this last seen? It was either late last year or early this year, but now 34% of investors are showing extreme fear on the market. Now, this is in spite of the fact that, at least for XRP holders, things have been looking good for the majority of the last few days while the rest of crypto in terms of price action was crumbling. I'm not going to do that, XRP said. I'm not going to stop doing what I want to do because somebody else doesn't care. The 24-hour volume for XRP was just over $1 billion at the time this was recorded. Prior to the recent euphoria, it was more typical to see XRP 24-hour volume in the ballpark of $600 million to $700 million. That brings us back to our original point, just over $1 billion. A day or two ago, when I was filming one of my videos, the number of concurrent viewers spiked to an unprecedented 1.6 billion. So, let's dissect this situation and see what went down. If XRP wasn't affected, why not? I've been reporting on this for days, and I think it's pretty obvious why. Judge Torres made a ruling. However, I'd like to lay out the entire case for you here. The Dorbit Challenges ruling by Judge Torres was extremely harmful to the SEC. In the SEC versus Ripple case, the court largely upheld Ripple's expert witnesses in the face of Dorbit challenges and rejected the SEC's arguments regarding the Howey test, which were very damaging to the SEC. That which Ripple wishes to argue strongly for. As the judge sees it, they have a valid argument that will be taken into account. Acceptable in court? That's great news. Therefore, after the global trading community had some time to process this information, they were all like, For this reason, despite the general trend of falling markets, XRP acted differently. It seemed to be active for a while, but what happened next shows that it is not impervious to harm. Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, recently gave us some ominous-sounding news. The following day, the Silvergate Bank robbery occurred. Sad but true, Silvergate Bank is closing its doors. As a group, I estimate there were 1 billion of them. The good news is that despite that being a virus spread by the FTX Ponzi scheme, everyone involved and uninvolved has recovered. Customers. It's exactly the right definition I've been trying to find. Funds deposited by customers will be returned to those individuals, which means it has complete support. In contrast, the bank played a cruel joke. So, I explained in a video yesterday why that was the case and how they came apart. Yes, I heard you had that the other day. Exactly 2 days ago, that happened. And so then what occurred? The events that kicked off the day before? There's more banking-related controversy on the horizon. So, when you add it all up, you get the picture below. Concerns about the Fed chair's remarks affected not only the cryptocurrency market but also the stock market. Perhaps the worry over the Silvergate Bank was the main source of unease in the cryptocurrency industry. Okay. But then you bring up Silicon Valley Bank and all this other stuff that hammered equities, and because it wasn't unique to cryptocurrencies, which I'll get into in a second. However, in general, crypto prices follow stock market fluctuations. In other words, crypto was attacked for 3 days straight. This is a terrifying update. It should be obvious that the recent declines in the value of XRP, Bitcoin, or your preferred cryptocurrency have nothing to do with any kind of inherent flaw in the underlying cryptographic technology. As a result, the locals are selling their homes quickly out of fear. Get a grip, is all I can say. That being said, go ahead and act however you like. I'm not here to act as your personal monetary consultant. Simply put, I'm not a financial advisor. It doesn't matter to me if you buy, sell, or hold. To be honest, I couldn't care less. It's your life, live it as you see fit. But what I'm trying to say is that, from the perspective of the people who are making these choices based on their emotions rather than logic, it makes absolutely no sense. There is nothing unique or noteworthy about me. I can't claim to be a wizard. A sufficient number of phony internet gurus already exist. I'll introduce myself now. I go by Moon Family Sedan online, and am a guy who might or might not be wearing pants. Don't assume you are aware of where my pants stand right now. You don't have to be a genius to understand this material. It's really not that hard. Using that information to determine whether or not you share the general public's sense of unease is, in a sense, the norm. I'm the oddball who has no fear, and I want to teach you to be the same way. Why? Because being scared is no laugh. Please don't feel stupid if this is how you feel. You are not bad, weird, or wrong for having these thoughts. That's not what I mean by it. But let's both act a little strange because it makes no sense to think something is so obvious. As such, you should expect such difficulties. There will always be good news and bad news to report. Such recurring patterns are inevitable. You have to put up with all that nonsense if you're paying attention because you're as obsessed with crypto as I am. Fear is natural, so it's best to be as open as possible about your feelings. As for the emotional impact, I believe it lessens the longer you're involved and the more you see that, yeah, this stuff happens. When you put 2 and 2 together, you realize that the retail lemming speculators are driving down the price of the items I hold. It's illogical because just because it's decreasing in value doesn't mean there's something fundamentally wrong with what I'm holding. But it doesn't work that way here. For this reason, every single asset class is acting in lockstep. Nothing here should scare you. In a broad sense, it's not hard to grasp, and that's why I'm so fond of the strategy I've developed for making investments. I buy things, I hold on to them, and then I do nothing. Just sitting here doing nothing is fine by me. Literally. That settles the matter. Here, I'm just holding my stuff. To that end, please read this piece. Reuters published this just yesterday. I'm recording this early in the morning, so we'll see what unfolds. Market movements are likely to be affected by the forthcoming news mentioned in this article. Depending on the details revealed, it could go up or down. It's not something I'd even try to guess at. I'm just filling you in on the factors that are being considered so that you'll have some idea of what's going on when something does happen. Fear is illogical, as market forces dictate that sellers take advantage of the panic. And then there are people who are level-headed that come in like, looks like people are panic selling. I suppose I could load up on X, Y, or Z, or whatever the coin or stock happens to be, and then wait for it to reach a new floor before buying more shares and riding the upward trend. That's the way it works out. For the past 14 years, that is exactly what has been going on in the crypto industry. Well, anyway, the text of the piece is as follows. Investors worried that Friday's jobs report will prompt more aggressive interest rate hikes from the Federal Reserve caused the 3 major stock indexes on Wall Street to close lower on Thursday. After reaching its lowest level since mid-October, the S&P 500 Bank Index finished down 6.6%. When tech industry lender SVB Financial Group announced a share sale to bolster its balance sheet in the face of falling deposits, investors ran for the exits. Payments made by financially strapped new businesses. Fears of a significant increase in wages have investors anxious ahead of Friday's release of the U.S. non-farm payrolls report for February. This week, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell added fuel to the fire of skepticism about planned interest rate hikes to combat persistently high inflation. CME Group's FedWatch tool showed that traders were placing odds of a 50 basis point rate hike at the Fed's March meeting at around 60%, up sharply from 31% before Powell's Tuesday and Wednesday appearances in Congress. So, there you have it. That article caught my eye because it so neatly encapsulates the topic at hand. Is happening. They failed to mention Silvergate Bank, but there is also Silicon Valley Bank. And, by the way, I've got a serious question for you guys, I just wanted to mention that. Wall Street investor Jim Cramer. Holy crap. You can actually have an inverse Cramer. So, I was wondering if the people who watch Jim Cramer on television aren't necessarily using the internet and social media as much as you and I are. I'm curious about who has recently watched Jim Cramer on television. Is it possible that they're unaware of how much of an internet joke he has become? Are they seriously that clueless? And the reason I'm saying this is because, as you can see on your screen, this is something that has been pointed out by multiple accounts. Zero Hedge has over 1.5 million followers on Twitter and is currently sharing this with them. This is a screenshot from February 8th, just over a month ago, showing Jim Cramer discussing Silicon Valley Bank. Here is what Cramer had to say about it. The stock market is still reasonably priced. His remarks here have referred to the steep decline of Silicon Valley Bank, which he has mentioned. Stocks in Silicon Valley banks, bank stocks in Silicon Valley, bank stocks in Silicon Valley, still inexpensive. It's a compelling situation, and I don't think the fears are warranted, end quote. Significantly lower. That decline in the banking index you've been seeing can be attributed in large part to this. That's why you're seeing panic spread across the market and even into the cryptocurrency sector. Genevieve Rochdick is yet another well-known Twitter user. No doubt I'm making a hash of the surname. She made the same point, emphasizing it both then and in 2008. When this happens, I always have to laugh. CNBC's Jim Cramer claimed that Bestians was doing fine in 2008, but the company suddenly collapsed a few days, or weeks, or months later. Jesus Christ, that's backwards. This Cramer guy is legit. I'm curious if his TV viewers ever think to themselves, oh, I've gotten some good stock tip in my mouth, breathers out, after seeing him on screen. Does anyone then know how much of an internet joke he has become? That is exactly the kind of information I seek. That is all I wanted to say, anyway. The best thing to do is to relax. Regarding cryptography, everything is fine. It doesn't rule out the possibility of going lower, it's just that you have to make up your own mind about what to believe. As in, how confident are you that cryptocurrency will be around for the long haul? In my opinion, the answer is an unwavering yes. It won't go away, in my opinion, because the answer is unquestionably yes. I can also see the practical value of XRP in a variety of business models. There are a lot of good reasons why companies don't want to disappear. Insofar as this is true for XRP in particular, it will continue to thrive. Taking into account the overall context, and the extent to which we do continue to see an increase in adoption despite major pullbacks because market cycles are real, the question becomes, what is going to make that change now, after it has persisted for 14 years? After 14 years, the genie has been let out of the bottle. There comes a time when it becomes clear that, no, humanity does not need crypto. To hell with it, let's just give up. Here we are at the crucial juncture. Not at all, it defies logic. Worrying about something for no good reason makes no sense. Just go about your day as usual, and if prices go down, remind yourself that this in no way constitutes a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold. That is entirely up to you. Take the feelings out of it and make a rational choice, that's all I'm saying. I can't tell you what's best for you, so that's all I'll say. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. Just do it. Don't let fear dictate your response. Instead, acknowledge that those who react emotionally often have significant influence over budgetary matters. Usually, they are only hurting themselves, you know. As a result, I'm going to sit tight and see how things pan out. You know, I've been fighting this and studying it for well over half a decade in crypto. For well over 5 years, the same basic plot has been repeated, with new names and faces attached to the frauds and bankrupt businesses. Then there were the achievements, everything that went right. Every step must be repeated until the desired effect is achieved. This is a natural progression of it. This is why I have decided to sit this one out. That's why I wanted to send a message of hope. Look, I've been here for well over 5 years now, and I have no plans to leave unless you guys decide you don't like me anymore. Then I'll stop making videos because the insults hurt my feelings. Outside of that, though, you can count on me to be here come hell or high water, because I know full well that this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. You know, on days like today, I'm still like, okay, I'm excited. As if I care or anything. When things improve again, as they inevitably will, we'll return to greed and, eventually, extreme greed, because that's just how humans are wired. And I know that people do that and a lot of other silly things too. Unfortunately, I can't bring myself to join in. I'm going to lay down some cash. Just hold on for a second. Now, I don't claim to be a financial expert. Nothing I say or write should be used as a basis for making financial decisions. That is an extremely bad idea. Please like and subscribe my channel for latest updates. See you later, bye.